What's up, y'all? Will here at Schedulefly. It's just Schedulefly stories. The time we had our internet turned off by Bell South for being mass spammers. True story. So, 2008, um, late 2007, sometime in 2008, Tyler's trying to figure out how do we get people to know that we exist. You know, there's Google AdWords. And we don't do those anymore. They've gotten too expensive. We did them for years, and they were really helpful, but there just weren't a lot of people looking for restaurant employee scheduling back then. So we needed to find ways to spread the word. And there weren't any really good levers to pull other than creating attention through the media, which we did. And we got a cover article on Nation's Restaurant News, which was a big deal. And I'll tell that story in another episode. But one of the things that Tyler realized was, Open Table at the time, and maybe they still do, but they had for every restaurant, there was a little restaurant summary page and it had an email address for that restaurant. Normally it was their info at email or whatever, but they almost all had an email that would get, information sent to that email to the restaurant, right? Whatever their generic email was. So Tyler sat down and started emailing each restaurant. At the time, Open Table had about 7,000 customers. And he sat down and one day, over like an 18-hour period, he emailed over half of them. And again, this is going to each one, each page, copying, pasting the email address, and sending an email one by one. Well, after the first day and about 18 hours of doing that and thousands of emails, Bell South cut off his internet access in his house. He was working out of his house. They cut him off and they said, "You're a mass spammer." So he had to explain what was going on and get them to cut him back on and let him, he finished the list and was able to restore his internet. But that is the kind of thing that you have to do, and it's written in the best write-up I've ever seen for this type of philosophy. There's a blog post called "Do Things That Don't Scale," and it's written by Paul Graham, who started Y Combinator. Highly recommended reading. Short read, a great read. Do Things That Don't Scale. Just look that up. Do Things That Don't Scale, Paul Graham, and you'll find it. And he shares a story. Even what the guys that started Airbnb were doing, and how they did things that don't scale. What Tyler was doing does not scale, but it's a necessary thing early on. It's so critical. I've seen this so many times to the success of a new business, particularly something like a software business. But in almost any business, you have to go above and beyond doing things that do not scale, that you cannot do every day for the next 20 years. But you have to do those types of things to break the friction and the inertia and just the things that are keeping your business from moving forward. Those things are often very, very necessary. Some people get lucky and don't have to, but most successful businesses, if you go back to their origin story, somebody, the founders, somebody was doing something for a while that did not scale. And this was one of the examples of one of the things that we did. And we got, 25 customers out of that, 50 customers, whatever it was, out of the 6,000 that we have today. It just seems like a drop in the bucket, but at the time it was everything in the world. And when you have no customers, you'll do anything to just get that next one customer. These are people that are paying us, $40 a month. So you're not talking about huge amounts of revenue or anything, but it's validating that what you're doing is important. It's validating that you have a good product that people will pay for. And it gives you credibility. It gives you references. It gives you quotes. You can get testimonials. You can start, using those and say, hey, these are the restaurants. We serve X number of restaurants. So super, super important. And look, is it sexy? No. Is sitting in a chair for 18 hours, emailing one by one all these restaurants seem cool and like a awesome origin story for a business? Well, I think it's an awesome origin story. But, we get the media writes about these stories where like some guy or some gal wrote some code and next day they're, worth hundreds of millions. Those are unicorns and they're very, very rare. This kind of stuff is easy to repeat and execute on. And you just have to find what are the things I can do that are going to suck and they're going to be hard, but they're important and they don't scale, but it's worth doing right now. So thank you all for listening. More of these episodes every now and again on the podcast here, sort of our origin story and stories along the way. Have a good one. More interview episodes coming up soon. See ya.